Who has the series this year? Is it Fox?
I have his default. I never know.
I usually
It just feels like it's Fox. World Series television.
Should be a great series. I was saying this before. Just the matchup is really, really strong. Great pitching, great hitting, great bullpen. Well, one great bullpen, one effective bullpen.
It is
Fox. It is Fox. That might be the weak point overall, like the Phillies bullpen, if anything's going to crumble. But I like the Phillies upside here. I think they're going to. I like him in that role. Yeah. I mean, I think they need him to start because he's an effective, very good starter. But I do like them having him in, like, you know, if we need him for 2 out of the pen, something like that. He's very, very good in that role. Or potentially.
All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you on a Monday afternoon as we look at No House Advantage props and player contests here. That's right. If you're in a state that doesn't have legal sports wagering, you can get your fix over here on No House Advantage. They have 2 game formats that you can do. You can play against peers, gamer versus gamer, in their large field tournaments, or you can play versus the house. And they post lines. You build out parlay cards of 2, 3, 4, or 5 questions. They pay out 3, 6, 11, and 20, I believe, are their payouts there. And then on some Fridays, they go 21, you know, just to spice it up, Terry, just to make it a little more exciting. What do you got going on, Digital B21? I saw you sent a screenshot. Terry won't ever tweet these, but he cashed 40,000 last night.
Yeah, nice little NBA bink, fun sweat at the end of the night. Had Cam Johnson's entire second half versus somebody, like I said to you, it was a 15-point lead with Cam Johnson's entire second half. Guy 15 points back had Booker. Another one had Marcus Morris. And Cam Johnson picked up his 4th foul, maybe 11 seconds into the third quarter, sat the entire third. Booker played the whole third, came down to the wire. Cam Johnson picked up an assist on Booker's last 3 that got me ahead by, or kept me ahead by, like a half a point or something like that. So fun sweat, nice. solid W to start the season out. And yep, now we move on. Now it's Monday.
Not too shabby at all. That is very, very exciting. You know, we get to get those old Stokastic projections fired up. Those are pretty good. You guys can get in on those.
They come in handy.
10 days for $10. Use the promo code Hardwood, all one word. 10 days for $10. That's just not basketball. It's everything. Everything we have behind the paywall, you get 10 days for $10. Promo code Hardwood. That ends tomorrow. So very, very important that you take advantage of that now, because the next like awesome deal that's going to happen, probably not till New Year's, if we even do it this year. There's talk we may not. Talk we may not.
But we're just not celebrating the New Year. Let's keep this year going. This has been a good year.
Do you know what we have?
DFS wise, anyway.
Free no matter what, Terry. No House Advantage projections, because we have your best interests in mind. We want you to get over there, take care of the overlay that they have. What is overlay? Well, it's when contests locked that aren't entirely filled. They're guaranteed prize pools. I don't even think I lost track in the scramble yesterday, but the No House Advantage large field NFL contest in the morning went off barely half full. And then they had a basketball one that went off like 30% full, because
when they pulled that one up late.
People were paying attention to Monday or Sunday night football. No. Just chase that money. It's like they're paying out. Here's a better way to think of overlay. What if we said DraftKings or FanDuel for this contest only, we're going to double the payouts? That's what No House Advantage is doing every day.
Not bad.
Just
not a bad offer.
I don't know how to sell it. But the contest format we're going to talk about today is their tournament prize pool. So they put out 10 questions, or you select 10 questions. They've got about 90 or so to choose from. You rank those with confidence points, 10 down through 1. If you get the prop correct, picking over or under, you get those confidence points. Those are added up. That's your score. That's what you get going against everybody else. There are single game slates. They have college football now. They've got everything for you over there at No House Advantage. Come in under our link below us over there, and you'll get a $50 deposit match on your first deposit. Sweet deal. Terry, let's look at some of these numbers here. We've got an 8-game slate here in the association today. I'm noticing the Stokastic projections, not a fan of Bam Adebayo. They do not like Bam Adebayo in any form or fashion. No House Advantage today has a slightly aggressive 12.5 rebound line for Bam. They have the points, rebounds, plus assists at 36.5. We're looking at 8 rebounds and 27 points, rebounds, and assists. These look like the top 2 points. At some point, is Mr. Adebayo going to shake out of this? He's going against Pascal Siakam and the Toronto Raptors tonight. You ready to take some unders today?
Yeah, I think so. And I can't be the only one listening to that windup that thought you were about to launch into a I do not like them green eggs and Bam kind of a rant there for a minute. But yeah, Bam is standing out at the top of the board. And it's weird. Like usually we get the very top of the board on the underside with guys who are projected wrong against the line, right? Guys who are projected to play 10 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. And their line is based on a 24-minute expectation. With Bam, it's somewhat the case, but they also just went really high with these numbers. The line on his rebounding prop is 12.5. Last year, in a good year, Bam averaged 10.1 rebounds a game in 32 minutes, 11.1 rebounds a game in his per 36 numbers. This year so far, as he's struggling, he's averaged 8 rebounds a game in 34.9 minutes. We've got him projected at 32 minutes. So, I mean, he wasn't doing that when he was playing really well. So that line just seems high. It just seems off. It's at 98% on our board. If you drop down to the PRA, give him more to do. That one's also comfortable. It's set at 36.5. Our projection is 27.2. He's so far this year. Let's see where it's so far this year. His average PRA has been 24.4. So we've got him even projected three ahead of what he's averaged so far this year. And that's still, almost it's 9 basically below what the line is. So that one's sitting at 93%, but either one of those is very, very comfortable on the under. It's just not what he's doing, not what he was doing last year when he was playing well. I think you can gobble those two up at very high confidence.
All right, Lance Simpson. I'm guessing a distant relative of mine. I do come from a Simpson clan and a McPherson clan, the true clan, the McPhersons, but married into the Simpsons. Said he won 3,000 yesterday on No House Advantage. Hat tip to you, good sir. Hat tip to you. Very nice one there, Lance. That's
awesome, Lance. Yeah, congrats.
We like to hear that.
We also have Dr. DFS in there saying good morning from Australia, which is, little. We've gone international. I know we're talking about our goals to make this the biggest show on the channels and everything, and we're already multi-continental. So
look at that, international. And so my Australian connection, I am in an Australian NBA fantasy league
there you go.
with one of my college friends who lived in Australia for a few years. So he was in that league. They shanghaied me in a few years back. They call it fan ball. They don't, for whatever reason. Everything's fan ball. It's because I don't know.
So it's not fantasy. Things. I mean, it's called.
No, that's what the guys in the league call. They were just referred to it as fan ball, fantasy basketball.
Got it.
Fan ball, and so everything is. It's funny. I missed.
I thought you were just saying that was like a universal replacement term down there.
Oh no, I don't know if that's what everybody calls it, but that's what these guys call it. All right. So they're a bunch of.
We've got somebody. We've got a DFS expert from Australia in the chat. Maybe you can weigh in. Do you guys just call it fan ball? Is it like fan ball football down there, or is it fantasy football and EMac's just in a league with a bunch of weirdos?
We'll see. But I did win, and somehow I didn't make the draft. I got my Knights confused. And lo and behold, I ended up with Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis and Mike Conley. Like everybody that's not going to play on back-to-back or who's off-injured ended up on my team. So.
Well, that's fun. That keeps you engaged. You got to stagger your lineups every day. You got to make sure you're paying attention.
Yes.
Which apparently you weren't in that baseball league, which apologies again for. I didn't realize that we had a league running all season long that you were aware that you had a team in.
Well, I knew I had a team. I made a pickup every now and then, but I just assumed since somebody never bailed. So I just thought, we're just playing it out for fun. And
no, we agreed that we would collect up the money at the end. And now this is why I hate being the commissioner of pay leagues, because I always end up being the guy who's got to scramble and beg people to pay what they own. And it's fun. Dr. DFS says it's 6:42 a.m. We don't have NHA, but the stats knowledge is always needed. Cheers. We appreciate you, buddy. And he says we have draft stars and it's called fantasy sport. So. Sounds like it's same.
Yep. So it sounds like the guys in our
Lance says
just what they nickname.
Lance says he's a little behind. He came in late. You haven't missed much.
The under's on Bam Adebayo. That's the way to go. That's the key thing to know. We want to know. So you're going to see Mike Conley pop up on here. Good chance he doesn't play tonight. It's a back-to-back. Somehow the Utah Jazz are 3-0. Yet the Philadelphia 76ers. Sorry, Mike, are 0-3. So we've got to watch out for anybody that doesn't play. If they don't set foot on the court or on the field or in the batter's box, they don't play. You don't win that. You just get no points for that. So don't pick players that are hurt or players that you know are going to sit. As we continue down, I'm just looking to see, we do have a lot of lofty numbers here on the unders. Nikola Jokic is another one who's popping up there. We have him for 44 points, rebounds, and assists. His line is 50.5. It's a 73% chance of being under that. You also have him, I think his rebound number was pretty high as well. Yep, his rebound.
Yeah, that's the standout one.
14.5, and we have him for 11.3. So let's see who they are playing tonight. I'm blanking on that game. I did not write them. Playing Portland. Okay, so he will be doing battle with former teammate Yusuf Nurkic. But how are you feeling about Jokic in this one? He actually has help this year. Porter Jr. is healthy. Jamal Murray's healthy. He feels like he doesn't have to literally do everything.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, look, if those guys can stay healthy, stay in the rotation, it's going to be a dynamite team all year long. They're certainly going to be at least in contention to go deep in the playoffs if they have that lineup, I would think. So I do like the team. This one, it's interesting. We've got him projected, like you said, 11.24 against a 14.5 rebound line. That puts him in at a 92.3% probability of going under on that one. And looking at the numbers so far in 3 games this year, he's sitting at a 15.2% rebounding share. That's down from 20.9% last year. Last year, he averaged 13.8 rebounds a game. We're getting a lot closer to that 14.5 line. This year, down at 10.7. If we look at the per 36, last year per 36 was 14.8. So we're just over that line. We've got him projected to play 33.2 minutes, but he's been averaging 35.5 over the first 3 games. That feels a little bit more thin than the numbers might suggest. Just on, if I'm picking between some of these high 90s, mid 90s and high 80s probability ones, that might be one that I'd be a little bit less inclined, or maybe I push it down the card a little bit, just based on, hey, why am I taking that under against Nikola Jokic in this situation when I have seen him do this before? So it's not as strong as like the Bam one that was just wildly off. But I do think, based on what we've seen this season, based on what's going on with the team, there could be that reasonable expectation that it would go under, and the numbers certainly suggest that it is a strong pick. So I would include it, but it might be down card, just, 1 or 2. I might go like, those are Conley ones. The jaw under is a little thin as well. There's got to be something else on here, like Jeremy Grant PRA. Maybe that one looks pretty meaty, even though it's only sitting at 83.5. Maybe I don't bump that one all the way up to here, but there's other contenders, I think, for this spot.
All right, and that's one of these. We have so many different choices here from No House Advantage that we can look to. It's easy to build out a card. Looks like they have about 200 questions out there today that we'll be able to look at. Again, we have the free projections on the site. I'm going to drop the link in there, but you can just go to stokastic.com, hover over the NBA, go down to the projections, and they'll be at the very bottom. It'll say No House Advantage. You can click on that and get either the free projections, or we've built out the optimal lineups for you. We've crafted a couple hundred lineups that rate out as the highest probabilities in combination there. So that's going to be free for you every day. It's available in football and for the NFL, as well as for NBA here. All righty, let's see. Is there anything else on the unders that stand out, or we can flip the sort and look the other direction?
I mean, there's a few, like I mentioned, Jeremy Grant, his rebounds one stands out a little bit as well. It's sitting at 86%, 5.5 line against the 3.8 projection. There's a lot of those like mid 80s, between 80 and 85, somewhere around there, around Jeremy Grant with the PRA, the rebounding one. D'Lo on his assists is against the 7.5 line. D'Angelo Russell, we're projecting him for 5.9. His assist rate so far this year is only at 22.7%. Last year it was 32%. He was averaging 7.1 assists. This year he's averaging 5. So if that trend continues, then maybe that's there. But it is kind of, the line is just kind of where he was at last year. So we could see a return to form that might knock it down, but 85% probability, that's got to be a fairly strong contender for what we're doing here. You could take a look at like OG Anunoby, 3-pointers made. It's a 2.5 line. We've got him projected for 1.27. So far over the first 3 games, he's taking 5, making 2.3, 46%. So, that one again, maybe a little bit thin, but not entirely, right? It's just right at what he's been doing in terms of this year's expectations. We've got him projected for 35.6 minutes, and he's been playing 37.7. So if you shave a little bit off the numbers on the minutes played, you shave a little bit more on the expectation of the 3-pointers made. So that one might be there as well. Might be a little thinner than the 85% looks, though.
All right. Well, in addition to the No House Advantage $50 deposit match that you can get by going through the link below us there, click through that. When your first deposit, they will match you up to $50. You put in 20, they'll give you 20. You put in 50, they'll give you 50. You put in 100, they're going to give you 50 because it's a $50 deposit match. So that is a good way to get some cash. We also have a nice deal here with BetMGM. So with BetMGM, you can get, if you go through the link that is below us in the description here as well, click through that. You can sign up. You can get $200 tonight if you wager $10 on any NHL money line and a goal is scored. You don't have to win the money line bet. A goal is scored, you win the $200. You have a chance at winning the bet as well. And guess what? There are no longer ties in the NHL.
They still score goals in the NHL?
They're going to have to score goals in the
NHL. It's not like the NFL in touchdowns. They still score goals?
They still score goals.
How about that? That should be fun.
And if you get 3, they call it a hat trick.
There you go. Everybody.
Very sneaky. Very sneaky.
One of the best traditions in sports has to be the Red Wings and throwing the octopuses on the octopi.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the hat. No, I was going to say no.
I mean, yeah, throwing the hats is great, but I mean, topping that with the octopi, the octopuses. I think the plural actually is supposed to be octopuses. Somebody told me that it's actually from Greek, not Latin, so it's octopuses, not octopi.
Oh, interesting. I also like when they do the toy drives and you throw a stuffed animal.
Yeah,
out on the ice after they do that a lot of the minor league ones.
I think the octopuses probably appreciate that one a little bit more.
They're
pretty intelligent creatures, so we probably shouldn't be killing them and throwing them onto the ice at hockey games. But what are you going to do? They're dead already.
No, it would be horrible.
Yeah. Once they're in the seafood store. Yeah.
The other thing that they have over there at No House Advantage, they've got their own lineup generator, so you can also utilize that to create some lineups and easily enter them in the contest. They're trying to make this as easy as possible for you to go over there and get that overlay. It's almost like they're paying you to play, and they're paying us to give you the picks to play. So let's look at some more picks here, Terry. Let's flip the script here. Let's look at some of our overs because, hey, it's more fun to root for overs. It looks like we've got a bunch of assist props here. We have Desmond Bane with just 2.5 assists. We're projecting him for 4.45. That's about an 80% success rate. You've got DeMar DeRozan. We're projecting him for 5.8. He is at 3.5. Those feel like comfortable overs. We want to keep in mind that with DeMar DeRozan, they do have Zach LaVine back, so it's not like he's going to be dominating all of the ball handling, but no LaMelo Ball. So yeah, someone's got to kind of be the point guard there. Pardon me, no Lonzo Ball. LaMelo would be also none of the Ball brothers.
I'd be really surprised if he showed up today.
Yeah, that would be. Maybe LeVar will be out there dribbling. But how are you feeling about
remember the rumors when everybody used to say that Markieff and Marcus Morris used to switch places from time to time, and like,
I'm a big proponent of that. I've talked about that one on multiple shows. I would say that they would switch when they went and played each other in games, and then the other would go with the other team. Well,
there was one year where there was like a whole rabbit hole that people could go down about. They switched for a playoff series or something like that because one was limping or something and then wasn't, and it's a whole thing. Yeah. It's like the kids like the kids in Moving. Remember Moving with Richard Pryor?
Yes,
the twin boys, and they switched places in school for the whole run. Everybody thought they were one kid.
That's pretty good.
Switch
so yeah, this is just bizarre. Anyway, so DeMar DeRozan feels mostly comfortable there. Bane, 2.5, that could be a little tight. We've got Dylan Brooks coming back. Do we really trust the Memphis Grizzlies? Bane generally gets, he's a great basketball player. Yeah, could he get to, over to get the 3 assists we need? Yeah, but a lot of his game is built around scoring, or that's kind of his primary function there. So we could see somebody, drop a 0. I forget, I did some parlay the other night where I had a point guard, and they only got like 1 assist. It was a starting point guard who averaged like 7.5 assists last year. They got 1. It's like, it does happen.
Yeah. Normally I would say it wasn't on the Knicks, but we've got Jalen Brunson now, so I think he's probably over that.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about these guys? Anybody else at the top there? We've also got James Harden. I kind of like that. 7.5 assists, a little tougher number. He's darn near close to a triple double this year. He's at 9.4. I feel a little bit better about that because he's going to have the ball in his hands more than the other guys. It's 7.5 is a big number to get to because when we're looking at averages, a 4 or a 5, and then he gets 12, and all of a sudden it looks like his averages are good, but what is he getting in every game? Talk to me through some of these assist numbers here.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Harden, you'll also like to see a player of that caliber who's going to have the ball in his hands, kind of make the final decision, call the number so frequently, playing with fairly high-end teammates where a lot of his potential assists are going to get converted. So far for the season, he's sitting at a 41.8% assist share. Last year, 40.1%. He's averaging a 9.3. Last year, he was averaging 10.3 in 37.2 minutes, playing a little bit more, 2 more minutes per game so far this season. We've got him projected for 37.2 minutes though, and he's still beating the line by 2 full assists. I think we're pretty cozy with that Harden one. I don't worry about that one all that much. Sure, he could fail to get there because it is a lofty line, but I think it's a failure if he doesn't get to that one. So 85%, pretty comfy with that one. The DeRozan one at the top of the board, definitely interesting because, like you said, they do have Levine back now, but just looking at his assist rate, he's up at 28.6%, up from 22.8% last year. One of those 3 games, Levine was back the last game, right? Didn't he play the last game?
Yes, he played.
Yeah, so one of those games at least is wrapped up in that number. So I think that it's fairly clean there. It's only a 3.5. We've got him projected for 5.72. He's averaged 5.3 over the first 3 games this season. I think there's plenty of room on the DeRozan one. It's sitting at 90%. It's our highest rated over in terms of the win rate. The Bane one, I agree. It does project out well, but it's a little bit less comfortable for a guy who had a 13.6% assist rate last year. That's jumped up to 25.8% over the first 3 games, but I do not trust the Grizzlies. You've got the situation with Brooks coming back where he's just going to be chucking. He has an impact on everything that everybody else in this offense is going to do. So I don't love that one. It mats outright against what we've seen so far this year, but I think that might just be a short sample projection, kind of issues.
Yeah, it could be. We could be regressing it pretty heavily to the recent side on that. And again, it doesn't mean it's wrong, but the funny thing about when you sit on the sidelines for these player props, you're like, oh, I would have gone over. Oh, I would have gone under. Try to put your name next to some of these and then actually try putting money on some of these. Sure. It's a lot harder than you think it is. So the one thing I wanted to point out, last year he averaged 2.7 assists per game and played just shy of 30 minutes per game. Yeah, the team's changed just a little bit, but still he's not, assists are really not his main part of his game. So that one, while it looks good, you have to start thinking about it. Because remember, we're looking for, these are kind of like the median projections. We're looking at where something going to fall on the actual outcomes. And some of
that
them,
one looks so strong because it's a line that's set against what he was doing last year. Basically, it's right on his average from last year. And he's been better than that over these first 3, but it's probably a little bit illusory. Like it's probably not totally real, which is what you're saying. You got to watch for these things early in the season.
Yeah, and that's key there. And James is asking, is Dylan Brooks back? No, he's still dealing with that quad issue. He's been close to returning. I think he might have even been announced as the likely starter, but he's been so I don't really know if it's being scratched, but it looked like he was a game time decision. The last 2 games he hasn't played. So
it's same story today.
Yeah, so when he comes back, he'll be back, but it's just something to keep in mind because we know, a lot of people are in that scramble mode when we get near lock. You're like, oh, I was advantage, and then I got to get my lineups, and I got to do this. We don't want you to look at these numbers and not think through, oh, this looks great, I'm going to grab that one. It's near the top of the list. Well, that could change quickly. here. So it's just thinking through that. All right, we got a couple minutes left here, so we will talk through a few more of these. I want to remind everybody that coming up after us here at 5 o'clock, we are going to have the NBA Deeper Dive. That's going to be with Lafi and Adam. Then there's going to be the NBA Live Before Lock with Greg and Eric up till 7. And then flipping over at 7:02, Matt Savoca, Matt Gajewski, and Neil Orfield will be doing NFL Live Before Lock for that rousing, steaming pile of dung that is called Monday Night Football. Have you seen? I had to write the article for it today. The Patriots, the Bears. The Bears are projected for less than 16 points.
These are the ones that create those weird opportunities, though, right? These are the ones that we like for DFS purposes, because we get in there on those weird backup tight ends who catch 2 passes, get in the end zone, and then you're home, right? So I do like a game like this over a shootout for DFS purposes in a lot of ways, for showdown only. For full slate DFS multi-game, like, yeah, let's get a shootout in here. But for these wacky single game ones with the plays that I play, I do like these broken, ugly games a little bit.
Yeah, it's I'm doing one lineup tonight and moving on. I'll be focusing on basketball. A couple other interesting
basketball locks. You can do both. I'll be doing both.
All right. So Lauri Markkanen, let's kind of wrap this up with Utah here. The finisher out of nowhere has been getting almost 20 shots per game. He is now in Utah. Utah turned over darn near everybody. We're looking like Mike Conley's probably going to be out tonight. He didn't play on back-to-backs last year. Why would he play on back-to-backs this year when the team is not going anywhere? You have Markkanen sitting at 15.5 points on no house advantage. We're projecting him for 19.3. Feels relatively comfortable. They did. This is a 2 games in, back-to-back and 3 and 4 for them. But hey, Markkanen gets the ball, he gets to shoot. This is what he's been dreaming of his entire career. He will be a disappointment if he doesn't average 20 points a game. So we have a fun matchup here against Houston. So Houston also a bit of a debacle, a disaster, an incredibly fantasy friendly team. This would be the game I would watch instead of Monday Night Football. But how are you feeling about the finisher out of nowhere? And if you're playing DFS, definitely look to Kelly Olynyk, especially on sites where you can get him as power forward.
Yep, like Olynyk for tonight for DFS for sure. Another guy I like for DFS tonight is KPJ, who's popping up in a lot of these overs as well. His points, his assists all look good. But yeah, the Lauri Markkanen one is certainly there. One of the favorite players of YouTube chat from this morning's NBA strategy show, where he was getting favorable Dirk Nowitzki comps in terms of he is currently Dirk Nowitzki right now. Some of us disagree, politely disagree. Some of us impolitely disagreed in the moment.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But he is having a nice start to his season. So we'll give him that. 37.1 minutes per game so far this year. He's putting up where's the line? 24 points, real life points, 9.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists on 61.4% true shooting, 22.8% usage rate. If you want to chase the points, you want to chase the rebounds, I think it's certainly there. We've got him clearing it by 3 or 4 points. We've got him clearing it by more than a full rebound on the rebound prop. I think they're both there. They're in the mid 70s, 75%ers. So they're on the board. They'd be down the card though. I would build in a lot of these 80, 90%ers before I got to those. But once I'm dealing with the 1 and 2 confidence level picks, those are appropriate fits. He's certainly going to get the run. We've actually got him projected for 5 fewer minutes than he's played over the first 3 games. He's been playing 37.1 minutes a night. We've got him projected out at 32.3 minutes a night, and he's still clearing the line by that much. So if he gets the run that he's been getting, I think he's got a lot of room on that one. So yeah, reasonably high confidence on the both the Markkanen ones there.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show. Couple reminders: go to No House Advantage. Join through the link below us here in this description. When you click through your first deposit, they'll match you up to $50. That money comes out of your account first, so that is a fun thing to do. Of course, we've got the free projections for No House Advantage. You can also look at our sister site, Odd Shopper, to check out the props and see what is going on at No House Advantage to get the more accurate and updated lines. Remember, the lines in the contest we were talking about today, those are static. Think of those like salaries. When DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, when they post their salaries, they don't change the salaries, right? That's what these lines are in these peer-to-peer contests. So they are static lines. They're not going to move. They're versus the house contest. Those are active lines. They'll move in accordance with news on that one. So you can check that out. Use the promo code Hardwood ends tomorrow. Promo code Hardwood. 10 days of all access Stokastic Platinum for $10. Best deal we're going to have in quite some time. Jump in and get that. Shout out to T McBee for winning 40,000 last night.
Thank you, pal.
Congratulations. Shout out to Lance. He made him dance. He got 3,000 over there on No House Advantage. You had Mike Lawrence bring down several $1,000s. Was a whisker. A whisker away from 50K himself. I broke even because that's what I do. I am even Steven. This is just what happens. So yay, woo, yay me. Nothing exciting here, but it was a weekend where I didn't lose. That's always important. You can follow Terry.
That is always a plus. That's an underrated goal to have, is to just let's not lose, right? Let's get to that point, and then we worry about winning and profiting. Shut off the money valve going toward FanDuel or DraftKings, at least. Always an underrated goal.
Absolutely. But with that, you can follow Terry on Twitter at DigitalB21. I am at EMac DFS. Of course, it is Stokastic_COM. With that, gamers, good luck. Hit that like button.